speak to Nusaiba Mubarak, who is a community organiser who also used to work for Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign. Nusaiba, what do you make of today's meeting? President Biden seems to be intent on carrying on Trump's policy of normalisation.
Yes, that's correct. Is a continuation of Trump's normalization deals. And today, Secretary Blinken said normalization means progress. But in reality, we know what normalization means. It means more violence inflicted on millions of people. It means the sale of F-35 fighter jets for the UAE to continue bombing innocent civilians in Yemen. It means that Israel can continue theft and occupation of Palestinian land with full support from the United States. These deals have caused insurmountable harm to millions of people. And what we are witnessing right now is Trump-era violence.
Do we know where President Biden stands on the policy of Israel and the Palestinians?
Well, this meeting really says it all. It says to Israel that, again, it's okay to continue theft of Palestinian land. It says to Israel that it's allowed to commit crimes of apartheid, and it's allowed to illegally detain Palestinian children with full U.S. support. And I want to just mention this. I worked every single day of 2020 on the U.S. election, and the Biden campaign promised changes from the Trump era, which was a really scary time for American Muslims. President Biden needed Muslim votes, and especially in swing states, like Michigan and Florida, and even now Georgia. He even quoted hadith in attempt to rally Muslim voters. But what we are witnessing now is, as you said, the continuation of Trump's foreign policy. And American Muslims don't want you to quote hadith. They want change. They want deliverables. And that means a just foreign policy. And what Secretary Blinken has done today is he has dismissed American Muslim voters. He has dismissed American Muslim voices and the promises of the Biden campaign.
So is there a split within the Democrat Party over the issue of Israel and the Palestinians?
Yes, absolutely. We see that progressive movement growing, and the progressive movement recognizes the hypocrisy of the United States. The hypocrisy of it all is that the United States is not just complicit in Israeli and Emirati human rights violations. The United States is actively supporting and supplying them with weapons in order to continue theft and occupation of Palestinian land. We are continuing to supply the UAE with weapons to continue bombing innocent civilians in Yemen, and even as we're seeing now, to create another famine and humanitarian crisis in Tigray. And progressives in the United States want accountability. And that is what we see. We see a growing movement of that within the Democratic Party.
OK, Nusaiba, thank you. Nusaiba Mubarak, their community organiser who works for Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign. Thanks so much for joining us on the programme.